What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Sunday. It is a new week. It is the beginning of a new month, the second day of July. And I am here with you so that we can recap the latest episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's called Holt-ing Court. So it focuses on Martell and Melody's court battle for the custody of their 4 children. But the episode opens with Kimmi and Maurice continuing their conversation where it left off in the last episode. And I just want to say that, a lot of people have been making commentary and it's gotten picked up on a lot of blogs even about Maurice and his just disrespect, dismissal, and disdain for his wife, Kimmi. I feel like she is consistently trying to talk to someone who he doesn't listen to her. He doesn't hear her. Like she's trying to explain to him, she's comparing it to having integrity. She's like, I've seen you walk away from people who, have had no integrity and you don't do business again with that person. And he's like, well, that's just the worst example. You know what? And he's like, well, you haven't put things in the past between you and Kiowa. And she's like, yes, I have. There is no past. I'm over it. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up another meeting. Dinner. How about that? And the only reason why I'm laughing is the look on Kimmi's face. I mean, it's literally, I would say it's like talking to a brick wall, but a brick wall is not going to, go over your head and make plans that you said you didn't want. I feel like he is not only playing in her face, but he's doing so in a way to let her know her place, right? Like he's extremely chauvinistic and misogynistic in his views. And like a lot of people, and I don't know if this is just the way it was edited, I didn't see it for what it truly was until this episode, or last episode, I should say. But this episode, it really shows Maurice's true colors. And to be honest, I know a lot of people are saying that Kimmi dated this man 7 years before they got married, so she knows exactly who she married. My heart still goes out to her. I don't care. I still have a heart for Kimmi because on one hand, she's already raised her son, Jalen, and she did a very good job. He's a college graduate and he's working. And I feel like she, going through chemo, going through cancer, and Maurice on his live with Carlos King is like, well, I need to have intimacy and I don't care. Basically, he doesn't care how she feels, that she has to roll over and quote unquote suffer through it. Nobody should have to go through that, especially when they're battling a life-threatening illness. I feel like Maurice he doesn't care about her feelings, period. And so it's heartbreaking to watch. But let's move on. So we have Keke and Tisha. So Tisha's getting honored with the key to the city of Mobile, Alabama. And, Tisha is expressing to Keke that she didn't invite her or didn't let her know about it just because she's used to Keke not showing up. And Keke's like, oh, no, I'll be there and I'm so proud of you, et cetera, et cetera. And she flakes on her again. Now, mind you, she had, car trouble. And I get that. But I don't know if she, called Tisha and let her know, or, she could have sent her some flowers or, some kind of celebratory token of appreciation just to show her that, she's still there in her corner and she's excited for her. And so she didn't show up. Tisha let her know that bothered her because, which I understand, like she's like, that's why I don't, invite Keke to things because she's constantly flaking on me and not showing up. And that's just, that's reasonable. So Keke's like, no, I'll be there next time. She's like, okay, well, we're having a Black business expo, show up for that. And Keke's like, yeah, I'll be there. So, I'll keep y'all updated whether or not she shows up. But on one hand, I'm like, okay, I understand where Tisha's coming from in that instance because you can't be upset if someone stops inviting you to things if you don't show up. So car trouble or not. Okay, so then Melody takes Kimmi out to a spa, to work out. And so they undergo like a abdominal treatment, which is nice, right? Like you get the workout effects without having to actually put in the sweat equity, especially, with Kimmi battling cancer. It's a really nice gesture for her. And so they get to talking about Kimmi's marriage to Maurice and the timeline in regards to whether or not, you know, she was messing with Maurice while they were still married, while he was still married to Kiowa. And Melody's like, okay, well, I've never really asked you outright, because of what she went through with Martell. I'm sure that's a sore spot for her. But she's like, so, were you messing around with Maurice while him and Kiowa were still married, And Kimmi hates the term side chick. So she's like, no, they were still legally, technically married, but they have already put in the paperwork, so on and so forth. And so the internet is divided, right? On one hand, like I think Melody is dating, or I think Kenya is dating someone, and it depends on how long your divorce takes. But with Kiowa's point, she was working toward reconciliation with Maurice. And she feels like if Kimmi hadn't had come along, they would have been able to work it out and save their marriage. On the other hand, Kimmi is saying that, Maurice was telling her that his marriage was over, the paperwork had been filed, and there was no need to wait for the ink to dry before they got together. So I guess it depends. I guess it's subjective, and I guess it depends on, how you look at it. Some folks say, you're married until you're not, right? You're married until you're officially divorced. Other people would say, if you already filed the paperwork and you're separated from that person, then it's okay to date. So I guess it just depends on personal ethics. But, Kimmi feels one way, Kiowa feels the other. Okay, so then speaking of Melody, she she meets with Chris Fletcher and Nell Fletcher, and she is basically, letting them know that Martell, who is a piece of work, basically what happened in the court proceedings, that everyone, including Chris, they were subpoenaed. And Nell's like, I was really upset about that because he didn't even give them a heads up. He just subpoenaed them to come to court. And so they all got on the stand, basically testified that Melody was the best choice and the best parent for the kids. And, Mel said that, oh my goodness. She said, I guess that's why, Martell wanted me to pay his legal fees, because Chris, who's a realtor, let it be known that Martell has to move again. So he's constantly moving because of unpaid bills in regards to renting the houses. And it's a mess. Martell's a piece of work. He is, he met with his mom and he's like, well, you my mom, are you supposed to, have my back on the witness stand? You was only up there, for 4 minutes. And his mom was like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, because she knows Martell's not gonna be as present, right, for the children as Melody is. Like Melody, she's like, I'm having to go to war for my babies. And a lot of people have said that they feel like, Martell is only suing for full custody for a money grab, right? Because even when he did have his kids, he didn't show up consistently for them. This is alleged, right? This is what I'm seeing on the blogs and I'm reading. But Melody is going to war for her babies, and I commend her for that. She is truly a mama bear. And so, speaking of mama bears, the episode ends with Kimmi actually following through, meeting with Kiowa for dinner, and them talking again just about the past and hashing things out. And I feel like a lot of it is to appease Maurice, right? Like, Kimmi's already raised her son, and Kiowa, I'm hoping that she can, she says she wants to make more trips down there to support Maurice Jr. I don't like calling him Monster. I don't like that nickname. But I feel like he does need his mom, all kids do. But yeah, Maurice is a piece of work, and I wish Kimmi all the best with that. You guys, drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you're new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk with y'all later. Take care. Bye.